what makes the debate so upsetting is the litany of lies that Donald Trump told were so easily and should be flowing off of the tongue of anybody that's running or that comes out there to challenge Donald Trump. And that is what we wanted to see President Biden do on Thursday. The litany of lies were easy to debunk, and you didn't have to spend all of the times debunking them. First of all, his staff should have done the following. Come out there and whenever for the lies, I had a better employment. No, my employment was this. Your employment was in the doghouse. And folks, go to Joe Biden or go to this independent website and see that right now. www.end. Now, let me tell you what I'm going to do going forward. When it comes to crime rate, the migrant crime is skipped. I tell you what, before I go into this narrative, listen to how easily all the lies of Donald Trump was debunked in under 6 minutes. These large lies debunked in under 6 minutes. Something that Biden could do over and over and over again, especially in the format of this debate. Should have been prepared to do it in this debate, not timidly, but forcefully. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Let's start, Steve, with Donald Trump's claim about Joe Biden's record on jobs. Take a look.
The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Steve Ratner, what's the reality?
Donald Trump, committed more than 30 lies during the campaign. Fact check. I don't know how to fact check. I didn't sleep with a porn star, so we picked some other things to talk about. This is a good place to start, which is jobs. And so this notion that the only jobs Joe Biden created were so-called bounce back jobs is ridiculous. So let me show it to you as clearly as I know how to do. So here are the job numbers before the pandemic. We had over 150 million jobs. The pandemic hit. Obviously, we lost a lot of jobs. We started coming back. And you can see that in June of 2022, so a year and a half into President Biden's term, we basically got back to the pre-pandemic level. So these are, you want to call these bounce back jobs, you can call these bounce back jobs. But here's what happened after June of 2022. We added 6.2 million jobs to this economy. And so these are jobs that were created unambiguously under Joe Biden's watch. And here's something even more interesting, which is the job creation of both President Biden and Donald Trump making the right adjustments for COVID. If you take out the impact of COVID, Donald Trump created 182,000 jobs a month on average. If you do the same thing for Biden, take out COVID, he created 276,000 jobs per month, so way more jobs per month than Donald Trump created. And by the way, more than were created under President Clinton, President Obama, and so forth. It's one of the strongest job creation records in history.
So there's also Trump's claim about the largest tax cut in history. Take a look at what he said.
What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on.
And Steve, what are the actual facts?
The actual facts is that Donald Trump's tax cut, sorry, I keep confusing. Donald Trump's tax cut is nowhere near as large, the largest in history. And you can see here some of the largest tax cuts in history. The famous Ronald Reagan tax cut of 1981. President Obama had 2 tax cuts during his watch. This tax cut, which actually was passed in 1964, we call it the Kennedy tax cut because he was trying for it. And here's President Trump all the way down here, Donald Trump all the way down here with the TCJA at 0.6% measured against GDP, which is the proper way to measure tax cuts. And then he talks about how he was ready to start paying down the debt. This is completely laughable. The deficit was actually going up even before COVID hit because of Donald Trump's tax cut. And so when you put it all together, Donald Trump added $4.8 trillion of non-COVID, again, we're trying to adjust for COVID, $4.8 trillion of non-COVID debt to our national debt. Joe Biden has added $2.2 trillion of non-COVID debt to our national debt in roughly the same period of time. And so the deficit and debt record between these two guys is, again, not even close.
And one more thing, there were many, but we'll just do these. Donald Trump also had this to say about crime connected to immigration. Take a listen.
He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before.
Steve, what's the reality about the rat's nest that we are living in?
You know, Trump's ability to lie with a completely straight face and to say things that just are absolutely factually inaccurate without even blinking is quite amazing. So let's talk about overall crime first. First of all, and I'm using violent crime here as a proxy, but you'd see similar things at other kinds of crime. First of all, crime really didn't even go down much under President Trump. It went down a little bit, it went up. You can say this was COVID, but basically no change in crime. Under President Biden, here's what's happened to violent crime. It's gone from 398 per 100,000 people, the rate of crime, down 26%. 294. This is an extrapolation of what this year will look like if present trends continue. A huge drop in crime this year. And so the record on crime overall between these two guys, again, isn't even close. So he's talking also about migrant crime. Let's talk about migrant crime, because this is something most people don't appreciate, which is that the rate of crime committed by both legal immigrants and undocumented immigrants is actually lower than that of U.S.-born citizens. So here is the crime rate for violent crime, a bit over 200. For U.S.-born citizens, it drops down for legal immigrants. And if you're an undocumented immigrant, you actually have one of the lowest crime rates. And among the reason for that is not that surprising in a way. If you're an undocumented immigrant, you don't want to get deported. You're pretty unlikely to commit a crime because that's not going to lead to a great outcome for you. But in any event, you see the same trends in property crime and in drug violations. Immigrants who come here, whether they're documented or whether undocumented, commit crimes at a lower rate than native-born Americans. That has been studied many times. This is a Texas study. You can find it anywhere else in the data. Those are the facts.
Now, you ask about the crime rate. Migrant crime is so bad. Donald Trump, do remember that the crime rate went up during your administration, and it is way down comparatively in my administration. And then as well, the migrant crime that you talk about is much less than immigrant crime, as well as the crimes of the United States citizens, which are the highest of them all. Please, let's be factual. Why don't you tell your people the truth, Donald Trump, when it comes to I had the largest tax cut in American history? Biden could have said, you did not. By the way, folks, go to www.xyz.com and see what the real numbers are. But let's just give you some perspective. Both Obama and Reagan had much bigger tax cuts relative to GDP than Donald Trump, bar none. Okay, let's go to as far as inflation is concerned. Well, Mr. Trump, you are the ones who raised tariffs on China, which caused those particular products to increase in price. That's your doing, Mr. Trump. And likewise, Mr. Trump, you are the one who mismanaged COVID, which also instituted what we had as a supply chain problem because of the policies that you pass that allows all our jobs to go overseas, that allows all these other things to occur. So, I mean, it was an effective presidential candidate and a president that has the realms, that holds the reins of the country, should be able to go out there a mano and slight this guy. And that's why they came into the debate fearing. They thought that's what they were going to get. And they knew they would have lost if we had a Kamala Harris or we had a Gavin Newsom. They're doing it. I think We have to be very smart because, again, 51 million people. That was a huge loss. It doesn't matter what we do in these different campaign rallies going forward. Nobody's going to see that. Very few people are going to see that. Partisans see the rallies. Everybody was focused on that debate when we had 51 million people seeing 33% of the electorate. Unfortunately, I don't even think about a second debate because I can't see, and I am a supporter of my brother Biden because he saved this country. He passed great progressive policies, but it's always country first. Country first. The American people first. I don't see any possibility of a better debate.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.